Hi, my name is Dan Hammer, and I want to thank you for using our Synergy Family business plan to help you grow your Synergy business. Today we want to give you another marketing strategy. As you can see by the title, it's Simple Phone Script Campaign for Nitric Oxide Therapy. Once the microbiome product line comes online from Synergy Worldwide, we'll also do something very similar for the microbiome. But this one is specifically for nitric oxide therapy. Again, our two main marketing strategies are nitric oxide therapy for improved cardiovascular health, or microbiome research for resetting gut health for improved overall energy, wellness, weight loss, and a bunch of other issues. So the purpose for this marketing technique is for you to use a simple phone script to interest people on nitric oxide therapy. And the information I'm going to share with you is also in a PDF form. In fact, if you look to the right of this video, you'll see a picture or an image that you can click on, and that will take you to a PDF that you can download to your computer, you can print off. That way you can have the exact scripts that we're going to share with you today, the exact emails that you need to send to a person. You'll have all that at your fingertips. Especially if you're going to use this as a script, you can have that in front of you, and then you can adapt the script to your own voice or actually read the information that we have for you. So let's go through this simple phone script campaign for nitric oxide therapy. Again, the purpose of this marketing technique is some people would prefer to contact their database by telephone. Maybe some of your contacts don't have email addresses. To assist you, we created this simple phone script to help you effectively market nitric oxide therapy. So here's the goal. Use our phone script to interest the people that you know in getting this life-enhancing information. That is your branded nitric oxide therapy ebook. Again, if you don't have a nitric oxide therapy ebook branded to you and you're in our Synergy family, then you need to send me, Dan Hammer, your JPEG picture of yourself, your contact phone number, your contact email address, and then I'll brand one to you and send it back to you. I put my contact information on the screen so that you know where to send that. And again, you've got your branded nitric oxide therapy ebook that will help them understand how they can directly improve their cardiovascular health. And if they have an email address, then you can send it to them via an email attachment. However, if they do not have an email address but they're interested, then you can set up a time to meet them at a convenient location, preferably something that has Wi-Fi connection. You definitely want to have Wi-Fi connection. There you can pull up your ebook on your computer and play any of the needed videos. And we're going to discuss this later in this presentation on how to exactly do that. Now there's a flowchart that we put into this PDF. Most people have 500 more contacts. And so we suggest using a systematic approach so that you can effectively create interest in nitric oxide therapy. This interest will create product sales. But to be effective, lead with information. Always talk or write in terms of nitric oxide therapy. Do not lead with ProArginine Plus. Do not lead with Synergy Worldwide. You want to lead with nitric oxide therapy. Your goal is to create interest. And if your prospect is interested, then they'll ask you about what product or products they need to effectively harness the benefits of nitric oxide. That will then allow you to successfully position ProArginine Plus as the product of choice. And I can guarantee you that if you follow what we're talking about, lead with nitric oxide therapy to create interest to the point where they want to know how to do this, your probability of helping them get on ProArginine Plus as the product of choice will dramatically increase. Now in the flowchart, you want to make an initial phone call. Our suggestion is to make 5 per day. If you want to do more than that, great. But minimum 5 per day, Monday through Thursday. That means that you're making 20 calls per week. And if there's 4 weeks in the month, that's 80 calls for the month. If there's 5 weeks in the month, that's 100 calls per month. And if you do that consistently and you've got 500 more contacts, you can see that this would be a phone campaign that you can use for the next 5, 6, 7, 8 months to be able to create momentum in interesting people about nitric oxide therapy who then get on product and build your customer base. If they're interested, then you're going to send them an email with your branded email attachment. We'll tell you exactly what that email should say. or you're going to set up an appointment to meet them and show them your branded ebook. That could be a physical appointment that you would make with them, that if they're in your community, you can find a location that's convenient for both of you. Make sure that that location has Wi-Fi. Or you could also do that meeting through Skype. I do plenty of meetings with people through Skype. And you can do a lot. You can have face-to-face meetings through Skype on your computer. You can share documents with them. So Skype is another way for you that if there's a contact that you have that's across the United States or it's too far to meet, use Skype as a way to set that appointment. And the goal is to build your potential client list so that you can then do a drip campaign and offer them new information and client stories to continue to create interest in nitric oxide therapy. Because when you initially talk to them, they may or may not be interested at that time, but that doesn't mean that they won't be interested sometime in the future when their doctor tells them their blood pressure is now too high and you need to go on medication. And oh, I remember Dan was talking to me about nitric oxide therapy. I need to go back and revisit that. Maybe he does have something that could help me before I have to use this medication. Remember, marketing is about letting people know what you're doing. And you want to do it in the context of a mission. In this case, everything that we do, our whole marketing framework is called the Million Lives Project. Like any guideline, please feel free to adapt it. So the information we're going to share with you today, phone script, the email, other things that we share with you, again, just understand that you can adapt it to your own voice. Now, the phone script that we're going to share has three parts. It has an introduction, it has a story, and it has a call to action. There's a reason for everything that we do. Let's go through the phone script, but before we do this, also understand that you'll have different responses to your call to action. And in this PDF document, we've given you some suggestions on how to answer those responses, as well as how to handle some common objections. So let's start with this phone script. Again, we'll come back and show you the three parts. There's an introduction, there's a story, and there's a call to action. So here's the phone script. Let's call the name of the person George. Hi, George. This is Dan Hammer. And then whatever pleasantries that I want to use. Some people like to, talk for a period of time and just catch up with the individual. Understand what your purpose is. Your purpose is to make best use of your time and lead them to a call to action. So again, limit the pleasantries so that you can limit your time on the phone and use your time much more productively. But whatever the pleasantries that you use, once you're done with that, it would go back to, George, the purpose of my call is to ask you for your help. I'm working with a group called the Million Lives Project. Their goal is to get into the hands of 1 million people or more information on what's called nitric oxide therapy and how it can naturally address most cardiovascular health challenges. Health challenges like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetic complications, sexual and cognitive function concerns, poor wound healing, as well as improved athletic performance. They've created a fantastic ebook that I can send to you by email. There's no cost or obligation, just excellent information on how this Nobel Prize winning research can naturally address most cardiovascular health concerns. George, would it be all right if I send you this information? And then you stop talking. And if there's a long period of silence, just let it hang there. You want them to respond to you, and they're going to respond with some form of a yes or a no. Now, before we go into how you handle the response, let's go back and have you look at this phone script. You want to use the person's name. And you'll notice that I used that person's name 3 times in this phone script. There's a reason for that. People like to hear their name. Second thing, I introduce myself right at the beginning, get through my pleasantries, and then what do I want to do? I want an introduction. I want to tell George the purpose of my call. And if you listen to me, slow your speech down. Don't feel like you have to rush through this. And learn to emphasize words. If you go back and listen to this, you'll hear how I emphasize certain words to bring that to George's attention. The Million Lives Project. Their goal is to get into the hands of 1 million people or more information on what's called nitric oxide therapy and how it can naturally address most cardiovascular health challenges. So When you print this out, when you print this PDF out, highlight what words, what phrases that you want to emphasize. So I've got my introduction, and then I move into a very short story. Health challenges like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetic complications, sexual and cognitive function concerns, poor wound healing, as well as improved athletic performance. They've created a fantastic ebook that I can send to you by email. No cost or obligation, just excellent information on how this Nobel Prize winning research can naturally address most cardiovascular health concerns. And then it's a call to action. George, would it be all right if I send you this information? Clear call to action. Once you've said it, stop talking. Let them respond with either a yes or no. If they say yes, great. I'm not sure if I have your email address, so what email should I use? Again, you want to verify the right email address. And we're going to show you later in this PDF that you need to have some type of way of logging your contacts so that you can do proper follow-up with them, and as well as you can see what are the results of your efforts in this type of marketing strategy. So you want to get their current email address, the best one to send it to them. Once you get their email address, we would suggest you would say the following: excellent. As soon as I get off the phone, I'll send you an email with this ebook attached. You can easily open it up on your computer. You can also download it to any electronic device for easy access later on. George, would it be all right if I follow up with you to make sure you've received it and answer any questions you might have? This is your opportunity by asking this question to set a follow-up appointment with this individual. Now you're going to get one of two responses to that. They're either going to say yes and then determine a day and time that works best for them and put it in your calendar to make sure that you follow through. Say goodbye so that you can send them the email and make your next call. It's important for you to utilize your time effectively. You've done the job. They've said yes, they want it. They've said yes to a follow-up appointment. Close the conversation. Get on to your next call. Now, if they're not interested in a follow-up call, then say something like this: well, if you have any questions on the information, then please either call or send me an email. I'm no expert on this, but I'll share with you what I know, and if I don't have an answer, I'll get you one. Thank you for being a part of the Million Lives Project. Again, you can have this in front of you so that you know what to say when a person gives you a yes or a no with regards to the follow-up. And on the no to the follow-up, this is your easiest way to get off the phone with them, let them know that you're still there to help them, and then you're going to thank them for being a part of the Million Lives Project. Again, indirectly you want them to feel that they're part of a mission, especially when they get the information. Now, as you can see on the document, say your goodbye, send them an email with your attached Nitric Oxide Therapy ebook that's been branded to you. What should you say in the email? Again, your email has a summary, a story, directions, and a call to action. So here's a suggested email, which again can be adapted as you see fit. We'll also come back after I read through this email. We'll come back and help you understand the different segments of this. Dear George, thank you for taking my call today. It was great catching up with you. I wanted to follow through on your request for the Nitric Oxide Therapy ebook. I've attached it to this email. As I shared with you, I'm part of the Million Lives Project. Their goal is to get into the hands of 1 million people or more information on nitric oxide therapy and how it can naturally address most cardiovascular health concerns. Cardiovascular health concerns like heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetic complications, sexual and cognitive function, poor wound healing, and improved athletic performance. I wasn't familiar with this Nobel Prize winning information, but once I understood it and applied it, I wanted to help them accomplish their goal of getting this life-enhancing information into the hands of as many people as possible. Personally, I benefited from nitric oxide therapy through improved athletic performance. My wife Sherry benefited by seeing her blood pressure go from 160/90 to 112/68, all by using this natural process to address her health concern. This information on nitric oxide therapy is in the ebook which I've attached to this email. If you have time, I would read each page and watch all the videos. Cliff Notes version. However, if you're pressed for time, here's my suggestion to help you quickly understand how nitric oxide therapy could benefit you and your loved ones. 1. Review pages 11, 12, and 13 and pick the one video that best addresses your health concern. Watch this video. 2. The next best video to watch is on page 5, which is The Truth About L-arginine. This video will help you understand how critical this amino acid is to your overall health. 3. Finally, I would watch the video on page 8 titled The Truth About L-citrulline. This amino acid is as important to your nitric oxide production as L-arginine. As you watch the videos and go through this information, please write down any questions you might have. While I'm no expert in this area, I might be able to answer your questions, and if I can't, then I'll get the answers. One final thought. If you see the value of this information, then I would suggest sharing this PDF with others. The Million Lives Project is all about working together to bring this information to 1 million people or more, helping others understand that there is a natural way to address most cardiovascular health concerns through nitric oxide therapy. Thank you again for accepting this information and being a part of this health movement. If you have any questions, then please either email me or call me directly at 630-936-8079. Have a blessed day, Dan. So let's talk about this email that you would send to them. The ending, change it to whatever you want to end with your name. Make sure that you change your phone number to your phone number, not mine. And going back up here, again, Dear George, thank you. You're thanking him or her, whoever the person is, for taking the time to take your call. Great catching up with you. The summary. I wanted to follow through on your request, and so I'm now summarizing that information that I shared with them on the phone to create the interest. Million Lives Project. The goal, get it into the hands of 1 million people or more on nitric oxide therapy, cardiovascular health concerns. And then I start my story. I wasn't familiar with this Nobel Prize winning information, but once I understood it and applied it, I wanted to help them accomplish their goal of getting this life-enhancing information into the hands of as many people as possible. And then I share my personal testimonial of what nitric oxide therapy did for me, what it did for my wife. If you don't have a testimonial, then you can leave that out. If you do, then make your testimonial to the point. So share the 3 most important aspects of your testimonial, with the most important one shared last. Now, after I've shared my story, I want to give some directions on how to use it. Certainly you'd like to have the person read each page and watch all the videos, but understand that people don't have time. So you want to give them the Cliff Notes version. You want to specifically tell them how to be able to access the information as effectively as possible. So in the Cliff Notes version, the first thing that we want them to do is go to pages 11, 12, and 13. There are a total of 6 videos there, 2 on each page. Have them pick the video that best addresses their health concern. Have them watch that video. If they have additional time, we want them to go to page 5. Watch The Truth About L-arginine. And then if they still have time, go to page 8. Watch The Truth About L-citrulline. Those are the key videos you want a person to watch, because it'll give them a great understanding of nitric oxide therapy and how it can directly benefit them. We also suggest that they write down any questions so that they can get back to you, or if you've got a follow-up with them, you'll be able to have questions that they would have that you can then help address. And be honest with people. If you don't know the answer to their question, tell them that. They don't expect you to be an expert. They do expect you to help them get answers to their questions. And so we make that statement in the email. One final thought. This is the call to action. One final thought. We want them to become part of the Million Lives Project. Doesn't necessarily mean that they become part of Synergy Worldwide or that they're using ProAction Plus, but you want them to see the value of the information and participating like you are in getting this information into the hands of 1 million people or more, helping others understand that there is a natural way to address most cardiovascular health concerns through nitric oxide therapy. So this is your call to action, to have them participate with you in this Million Lives project. Again, thank them for their time and accepting the information and being a part of this health movement. Any questions? A call to action, email me or call me directly. Now, common objections that you might run into. What if they say, when on your initial phone script, what if they say no, that they don't want the ebook? Sometimes when a person says no, it's an awkward situation. So here's the best way to get out of that situation. Say, okay, but if you change your mind, then give me a call. I'll send it to you at that time. But before I go, can you do me a favor? Ask a question. When you ask a question, wait for a response, which is going to usually be something in the form of, what's that? Or, what's that? You know, you'll have to gauge in terms of the reaction, but they're going to ask you, what is it? And this is your response. If you come in contact with anyone that has cardiovascular health issues, then please keep me in mind, as this information could definitely benefit them. Thanks for listening. I'm going to say goodbye as I've got a couple more people to call. And then get off the phone. Now, what you're doing by asking that question, you're planting in their mind the opportunity to re-engage with you. That as they go through their normal life, maybe they do come across a colleague at work or a person that they know in their neighborhood who's got cardiovascular health issues. And because you planted the seed in their mind, wow, maybe this person could benefit from that information that Dan was trying to have me get. So that gives them maybe a reason to get back to you. All you're doing is planting a reason for them to reconnect with you, and especially if you put them on a drip campaign. Close off the call. I'm going to say goodbye as I have a couple more people to call. Let them know that you've got other people that you're trying to share this information with. You really are on a mission. You really are on a mission to get this information into the hands of as many people as possible, the Million Lives Project. Now, you may get an objection, what we call, can you mail me a copy of this book? The answer is no. While I would like to do it, it only comes as an ebook. So the only way I can get it to you is through an email, or we could meet and I could show you the information. Would you like to do that? Now, again, this last part, or we could meet, I could show you the information. Would you like to do that? Only say that if you're committed to either setting up a Skype call or physically meeting that person. Now, we would recommend that you would do that, because if you are able to create that type of environment, that just means one additional touch, one additional opportunity to show the information, another opportunity to create the relationship, another opportunity to help them understand information that could directly benefit them, to lead them to want to apply nitric oxide therapy for themselves or a loved one, and how do I get the product. If that person that you're calling lives close by, then set up a meeting that would work for both of you. Or you could also use a Skype call to meet them, especially if they're long distance to you. Here's another objection that you might hear. Are you trying to sell me something? No, I just wanted to share this life-enhancing information with as many people as possible. Would you like me to send it to you? Again, what are you doing here? You're using a question at the end. You've answered it, no. You've said it in a way that's not offensive. I just want to share this life-enhancing information with as many people as possible. Your underlying, the underlying message that you're saying to George is, hey, there's other people I'm going to be doing this with, George. Would you like me to send it to you? A call to action. You want to get off the phone either having George want the information or not want the information so that you can go on to the next person. Would you like me to send it to you? Again, say it in a way that is like, would you like me to send it to you? No. Would you like me to send it to you? A question. We put this in the objection section. What is this nitric oxide therapy? Now, we put it into this common objections section to guide you on how best to answer this. Do not get into a long conversation about nitric oxide therapy because you want them to get your branded ebook. So here's our suggested answer to this. This is Nobel Prize winning research that helps you understand how the lining of your cardiovascular system, when properly nourished, produces this molecule called nitric oxide for improved blood flow. The ebook I like to send to you will help you better understand how this natural method can significantly improve most cardiovascular health concerns. What's the email address you would like me to use so that I can send you the nitric oxide therapy ebook? Now, what are we doing here? Again, we're using some key things, Nobel Prize winning research. When properly nourished, again, if you print this off, this PDF off, and have this in front of you, there's your answer. It gives them enough information. That's the reason why you want to give them the ebook, to give them a better understanding. And rather than getting into a discussion on what nitric oxide therapy is, you come back with the question, what's the email address you would like me to use so that I can send you the nitric oxide therapy ebook? It's what's called an assumptive close. You are assuming that they want the information. Close it, the call to action. What's the email address for me to send it to you? Now, if you end up doing a personal one-on-one meeting where the person doesn't have an email address, but they would like to get the information, and you've suggested that you get together because you live in the same town or you live close enough by that you could meet halfway, and it's worth sitting down with that individual, always make sure that the location is convenient for everyone, that it also has Wi-Fi internet access, because you need to be able to have, when you pull up your PDF on your computer and you click on the image for a video, you want to be able to make sure that you've got access to the internet so that that can connect with YouTube so that you can show the video right on your electronic device. Now, I'm going to go through this with you step by step of how to do this personal one-on-one meeting, and I'm going to show you how to use the PDF, the ebook that's been branded to you. In this case, I'm going to use mine, and I'll show you how to effectively use this. So the first thing that you want to do once you pull it up is you want to show them the cover and thank them for taking time to learn about this information. So let's show you the cover. That's the cover. Again, you can blow this up on your screen to whatever size that you want in terms of your electronic device, but you want to show them. It's an attractive cover. It's Empower Your Heart with Breakthrough Nitric Oxide Therapy. So we're talking about empowerment, we're talking about their heart, we're talking about breakthrough nitric oxide therapy. Let's go back to our other document. So what's the next thing once you show them that cover? Second, scroll to page 1 and highlight the following information. 1998 Nobel Prize in Medicine, No More Heart Disease book and subtitle, and read the quote from Dr. Ignaro. So let's go to that page and show you exactly what you need to do. So you scroll this to page 1. I'm going to increase the size of this so it's a little bit easier for me to read it. And you just want to say, this is Nobel Prize winning information. In fact, in 1998, 3 American researchers won this, and one of them is Dr. Louis Ignaro, who wrote a book called No More Heart Disease. And as you can see by his subtitle, nitric oxide can prevent, even reverse, heart disease and strokes. I'd like to read what he says in his introduction. He says, quote, my colleagues Fred Murad and Robert Forgot and I had discovered the atom of cardiovascular health, a tiny molecule called nitric oxide, NO as it's known by chemists, is produced by the body specifically to help keep arteries and veins free of the plaque that causes stroke and to maintain normal blood pressure by relaxing the arteries, thereby regulating the rate of blood flow and preventing coronaries. Nitric oxide is the body's natural cardiovascular wonder drug. And so again, as you do these presentations, your technique of sharing this information will get smoother and easier to do as you do it more often. Do not worry that you might stumble through some things when you initially do this. Always look that after you've done a presentation, you're going to go back and review it. How could I have said that better? How could I have made that better flow together? And as you do that, you'll get better and better at this whole process. You just have to do it. Now, what's the third thing that you're going to do once you've done that? Because again, this is a narrative that you're doing with this person. As I'm showing you today, we're breaking it up into stages. But again, this is a narrative. So the third thing that you're going to do is you're going to scroll to page 2. And you're just going to read the highlighted information. Let me show you what that looks like. So page 2 is about what is nitric oxide therapy. All nitric oxide does is act as a signaling molecule. And it has 3 benefits to you. The first benefit is nitric oxide relaxes the smooth muscle of the vascular wall, causing vasodilation for improved blood flow. In fact, it's a natural way to bring your blood pressure back into the normal range. The second benefit of nitric oxide is it keeps blood platelet cells from sticking together. This reduces your risk for strokes and heart attacks. And then the third benefit is that when it's at high enough levels over a long enough period of time, it can initiate reparative mechanisms to heal damage done to the endothelium. Now, on the illustration I'm going to show you on the next page, this is what happens to you over time. And you go to page 3 and you pick their age category. If you're talking to someone in their 50s or 40s, again, what's our market? Our target market for this is people in their 40s and above. So once you go there, hey, they're in their 40s, you got 50% less nitric oxide production. We want to nourish this lining to increase that. If they're in their 50s, hey, your nitric oxide production is only 35% of what it used to be. We want to nourish this lining of your vascular system to increase this. If they're in their 60s, hey, your nitric oxide production is only 15% of what it used to be. We want to nourish this lining so that we can use nitric oxide therapy to increase your nitric oxide levels so that you can see the health benefits that come from that. Now let's go back to our PDF document on this phone script. What did I just do? I did the fourth aspect. I scrolled to page 3. I picked the section of the image that relates to their age category. I helped them understand how damage to this lining called the endothelium has reduced their nitric oxide production. The next thing I do is I go to pages 11, 12, and 13. So I bypass a big section. Show them the information that you're bypassing, but you want to get to pages 11, 12, and 13. And the reason for that is you want to identify the one video that best matches their specific cardiovascular health concern. Once you've identified that, you want to click on the image, and if you've got the internet connection where you're at, that video will play for them. Watch the entire video. And once you've finished playing that video, you want to ask them this question. George, what piece of information stood out for you? Do not ask George or the person you're meeting with if they liked the video. That's a yes or no question. You don't want yes or no questions. You want questions that will engage conversation. So ask, what piece of information stood out for you? Or what part of that video spoke to you? However you want to phrase that, but you want them to engage you in a conversation, not a yes or no answer. So let's go back again to the Nitric Oxide Therapy ebook. I'm going to bypass page 4. I'm going to bypass page 6. I'm going to let them see the information that there's a lot to this ebook that you're not yet sharing with them because you want to get to page 11. How nitric oxide therapy addresses. I want you, George, to understand how this nitric oxide therapy could address high blood pressure or diabetic complications. And George, as I show you this information, I want you to tell me which of these categories best addresses your health concern. Is it high blood pressure? Is it diabetic complications? Is it sexual function issue? Is it cognitive function? Is it poor wound healing? Or maybe, George, I know that you still are participating in athletics. Would it be improving your athletic performance? Once George tells me what it is, then I want to go back to that particular video. Maybe George has got high blood pressure because he doesn't want to tell you that he's got ED issues. And then, as you notice, when you hover your cursor over the image, the little pointy finger shows up. And if you click on that image and you're in a Wi-Fi connection, that will connect you to the internet, and that video will play on YouTube and have the person watch the complete video with you there. Once you've done that, once you've engaged them in conversation, then what I would do is I would scroll to page 14 and let them know that you're part of the Million Lives Project. And I would read the first paragraph. And after you read that first paragraph, then ask them if they know of anyone who could benefit from this information. Ask for referrals. Or maybe organizing a group meeting with their friends to help them understand how nitric oxide therapy could be a natural way to address cardiovascular health concerns. As you create this interest, it will naturally lead to a question about what product they could use, or the opportunity to get in front of their sphere of influence, either individually with people that they refer to you, or having them set up a group where you come to their home. Their home has Wi-Fi access. You can get the code to be able to tap in to their Wi-Fi. So that it just provides you with other opportunities. And then once you've done that, you can then show them pages 15, 16, and 17. If they have interest in applying nitric oxide therapy, you can show them the unique selling points of ProOxygen Plus, which are clinically proven, physician's desk reference for 3 years in a row, 262 quality assurance steps with a 120-day money-back guarantee. So let me go back and show you how I use page 6, or the 6th step, I should say, how I use the 6th step and lead that into an opportunity to show them the product of choice. So you've watched the video, you've answered their questions, and now you let them know, George, thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to take time. As I shared with you, I'm part of the Million Lives Project. The goal of the Million Lives Project is to help 1 million people or more understand how they could effectively use nitric oxide therapy to significantly improve their health while reducing their risk for cardiovascular health concerns like high blood pressure and diabetes, sexual and cognitive function issues, and poor wound healing. George, does this information make sense to you? George, are there other people that you know that you believe this information could help? Great. Would you mind referring them to me, where you would maybe give me their names and phone numbers or email addresses where I can contact them? Or would you mind doing an introduction for me? Or maybe better yet, George, would it be good that maybe we organize a meeting where you and your friends, I could all come either to your home or we can come back to this location and I could do a presentation for everyone? Again, the goal of the Million Lives Project is to get this information into the hands of 1 million people or more. What do you think about that idea, George? Again, I come back with a question to gauge where George is at. Now, if we continue in conversation, and George, well, how do you, I mean, is there a product? I mean, have you benefited? You know, you don't know where that conversation is going to go, but if George is interested, he's going to be asking questions like, have you used this? Oh, absolutely. And then you share your story. You know, for me, it would be absolutely. I used it for athletic performance, George. Made a huge difference while I was playing indoor soccer. I had greater stamina and endurance, especially at the end of the game. But more importantly, I had no soreness the next day. And then my wife Sherry decided to use it for her high blood pressure. Her doctor told her that her blood pressure was 160 or 90, and if she didn't do something, she had to go on medication. So she decided to use ProOxygen Plus. And the consistent use of this product has taken her blood pressure down to 112 over 68. So yeah, we're firm believers, and the product of choice that we're using is this product called ProArginine Plus from Synergy Worldwide. And George, here's the reasons why we use it. It's clinically proven. It's the only L-arginine supplement in the marketplace that's actually clinically proven. The other reason why we use it is because it's been listed in the physician's desk reference for the last 3 years. It's the only L-arginine supplement that's actually recognized by the medical community, and it's been in the physician's desk reference now for 3 consistent years. And then the last reason why we decided to use it, it comes with 262 quality assurance steps. I know that every time I get this product, I'm always going to get the same results. In fact, they guarantee it, that if I don't get the results that I'm looking for, there's a 100% money back guarantee on the cost of the product. That's the product that we use. And George, if you decide that this is what you want to use, it's the product that I would highly recommend to you. You certainly can go online and can find a whole bunch of other nitric oxide supplements, but none of them are as effective as this product, and they back it up with a 100% money back guarantee. So is that something that you're interested in? What am I doing? I'm asking questions to gauge where George is at, to see whether he wants to move forward with a buying decision. Well, let me think about it. Okay, great. And that, do you want me to follow up with you at all? No, if I'm interested, I'll call you. Great. Respect that. George, do you see this information as being valuable to other people? Yeah. Would you like to organize a meeting where I can be in front of other people and help them understand how nitric oxide therapy could address their cardiovascular health concerns, or the cardiovascular health concerns of other ones that, other loved ones that they know? Well, that might be an idea. Again, you just take the conversation where it's going to naturally go. You don't force George to do anything, but you take the cues from George to lead to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and you'll be surprised how many people are now receptive to ProArginine Plus, because you took an information pathway that actually spoke to their needs and made sense to them, and now it's just an aspect of how do I apply it. ProArginine Plus, 3 unique selling points, what it's done for you, your personal story, maybe a story of what it's done for someone else, wife, spouse, client. Call to action. Is this something that you would like to use? And as you do this, you'll get better and better at it. You'll increase what we call your N factor or skill level, so that your closing, I don't like that word, closing, so that your probability of having a positive outcome where a person gets on product will be greatly enhanced. Now let's go back to our PDF. If you create that product sale and you do carry inventory, then you can directly sell to that client, that customer, that person that you're meeting with. And that's a whole nother presentation. We're not going to cover that in today's. Or they can get their products from Synergy Worldwide as a preferred customer. And again, that's a presentation that we just don't want to take time today to do. But what you do want to do is you want to build your potential client list. As people respond to your phone calls and want Nitric Oxide Therapy ebook, we suggest creating a potential client list. Now, you can use any type of contact management program you like, but here are some suggestions. One, you want to capture their contact information so that you can track outcomes. You want to be able to create a drip campaign, and you want to maybe consider using an email provider like Constant Contact or MailChimp. I personally prefer MailChimp. I used to use Constant Contact. I now use MailChimp. Now, keep a simple chart. You can take this, you can copy this off of the PDF, you can copy it, you can paste it into a Word document, you can then add lines to it. If you're going to be calling 5 people a night, Monday through Thursday, then have a sheet of paper that has 20 lines on it. 4 times 5 is 20. And then just put the date one time, name of the person, their email address that you got from them, the email that you sent them, the follow-up date. So you've got your call date, the name of the person. If they give you an email address, you add it here. The date that you sent that email to them to thank them for taking your call, and here's the attached PDF for Nitric Oxide Therapy branded to you. If there's a follow-up date, what that date is, and then if there's an outcome where they actually get on product, put that there, so that when you go back and review that, you can begin to see, okay, I've got results from my efforts. Maybe it's 2 months down the road that they decide that they now want to get on the product. Go back and put the outcome date on your sheet. So again, when you go to review this mentally you can see, okay, it was worth the investment of time on the front end because George ended up becoming a client, a product user 3 months down the road. And that helps you to understand that there's a process to this whole thing. Maybe George gets on product in a week's time or less. Again, you can also see that as you do this over time, your skill set gets better. And maybe your outcomes, you have a higher percentage of people every week getting on product than what you did when you first started. Tells you that your abilities are increasing. If you keep a sheet for each week, you'd have 4 or 5 sheets for the month. And again, you have all that information to be able to effectively manage what you're doing. The other thing that you want to do is take those email addresses that they give you, they've given you permission to mail them, then put them into a email provider like Constant Contact or MailChimp, so that you can then send them information in what we call a drip campaign. Build your list of interested people is key to long-term success. Again, not everyone will be an initial product user. Whether they buy or not, you want to continue to send them information at least one time a month. You could send information more often, but our suggestion is no more than once per week. Focus 90% of your future emails on nitric oxide therapy with the following suggested types of emails: new research articles on nitric oxide therapy, highlighted videos on nitric oxide therapy that you like, share client stories without their names unless they've given you permission to use their names, and take excerpts from key books like Dr. Ignaro's No More Heart Disease or Dr. John Cook's book, The Cardiovascular Cure. If you did a one-on-one presentation, you showed them the cover of No More Heart Disease. You've introduced them to Dr. Ignaro's quote. Share some information as it applies to nitric oxide therapy. Again, understand and remember, all marketing is letting people know what you're doing. And as you learn how to share information that will more effectively resonate with them, then your probability of a positive outcome, which in this case would be sales, will increase. Now, that's the information for a simple phone script. You can see that there's more to it than just calling a person on a phone. So understand that if you really want to be successful, set yourself up for success. That if they're not willing to share their email address but would rather meet with you, or they don't have an email address but would like to meet with you, again, be willing to do those meetings. The more that you invest in people and show them information on nitric oxide therapy and how you can help share that information effectively, that it resonates with their issues, their needs, their concerns, the faster you're going to build rapport, relationship with that individual where they see you as a trusted person. They're going to want to know what you used. You'll then have the opportunity to share how ProArching Plus benefited you and other people that you're working with, and why you've chosen that product over all the other ones that are in the marketplace. Unique selling points: clinically proven, physician's desk reference, 262 quality assurance steps with 100% money back guarantee. If you have questions on how to do this, or after you've tried it, if you have some issues that come up and you need to talk to someone, talk to the person who shared this information with you. If they're not using the strategy, then definitely give me a call. I've got my contact information on the screen. You can easily call me. If I don't answer, leave a message. And again, this is information for people in our Synergy family. If you're in another Synergy organization that's not part of our Synergy family, then please just respect my time. We're offering you the same information that you can apply, but I want to be able to focus on the people who are in our Synergy family to help them be successful. And hopefully you've got an upline that's willing to invest in you and help you. Thank you, and have a blessed day.